Hi, my name is Miss Townsend. Welcome to Math with Townsend. This is a video for grade 10 students. We're going to look at a question involving finding the equation of a line, given information about another line that's either parallel or perpendicular. So let's look at this specific question for this video. It says, determine the standard form equation of the line that is perpendicular to this line, x plus 2y minus 8 equals 0, and passes through this point. So we're looking for the equation of a line. We need to write the equation of a line. Now we want the standard form equation of a line, which is the ax plus by plus c equals 0. So that's the formal, fancy version. And you can see the line I was given is actually in standard form. But we don't look for it. We can't find the equation initially in standard form. What we do is we do the math to find the equation in a different form, which is slope-intercept form, and then we'll turn that into standard form. So for now, we're ignoring the standard form request, and we're just going to find the equation of the line. So whenever we're looking for the equation of a line, again, we start by thinking I need the slope-intercept form. And in order to find the slope-intercept form, there are two things I need. I need to know the slope of the line, and I need to know a point on the line. So I have a point on the line. I was given that right away. So I already know that there is a point on the line at -3, -4, but I don't yet know the slope. So how are we going to find the slope of the line? We're given information about another line that is perpendicular to our line. So the word perpendicular tells us that there's a connection between the slopes. This line has a certain slope, and my line's slope is perpendicular. So that means I need to find the slope of the line I was given so that I can find my slope. So that's where we're going to start our algebra here. So I'm just going to move to the side like I did, and I'm going to rewrite that so my screen doesn't get too messy for you. This is the line I was given, and I need to find the slope of this line. So as I said earlier, this line is given to me in standard form, which is really nice to look at, but is not as useful for finding things like the slope. So I'm going to rearrange this formula or this equation into this y equals mx plus b form. So how do we do that? Well, the first thing is in slope-intercept form, the y term is isolated on the left. So I'm going to take everything that is not the y term, like the 8, the -8 and the x, and I'm going to move them to the other side. So my first actual math here looks like this. So the positive 2y stays on the left side of the equal sign. There's the equal sign. Positive 2y is still there. I don't have to write the plus sign anymore because there's nothing in front of it. So I can just say 2y, and we know that means positive 2y. Then I'm going to subtract to get rid of that x. So that would be -x showing up on the other side. And then I need to add to get rid of that -8. So this would be +8. So I've moved the two terms that are not the y term to the right. Now, in y equals mx plus b form, it's supposed to be y on the left, not 2y. I just want y. So that means I now have to divide everything by 2 because that'll remove this multiply by 2. So 2y divided by 2, -x divided by 2, and +8 divided by 2. So let me take a minute here and clean up some of that math that I've been working on. Oops. So what do we get when we deal with all that divide by 2? So 2y divided by 2 is y. -x divided by 2, I mean, it's not wrong to leave it like that, but because I know what I'm looking for is slope, I'm going to separate the slope part from the x part. So that would give me -1/2 times x. So we know that this is -1x. So I'm just separating the coefficient piece from the x piece. And then here I have 8 divided by 2, so that's positive 4. So I now have rewritten the line I was given into slope-intercept form. And the whole reason for doing that was I wanted the slope. So the slope of this line is -1/2. Now my line is perpendicular to this line. If my line was parallel, then I would just take that slope and I would have my slope. But that's not the case. What we have is perpendicular lines. So the perpendicular slope, so remember there's 13 letters in perpendicular, so I just write it the math way. The perpendicular slope is, so it is the upside down fraction, so this would be 2/1, and it's the opposite polarity. So the original slope was negative, so my slope is positive. So my slope is 2/1, or just 2, to simplify the algebra. So now I know the slope of my line. The slope of my line is 2. So let's go back to where I was thinking about my line. I don't have to think about this perpendicular line anymore. I'm done with it. I now know that my line has a slope of 2. And now I have the slope of my line and a point on my line, and I can find the equation of my line. So we start like this. Y equals mx plus b, but I know the slope, so I'm going to write 2 for the slope. And now I need to find the y-intercept, which is the b. This point is not a y-intercept. Remember, a y-intercept would have a 0 at the beginning and then whatever afterwards. That's not a y-intercept. That's okay. What it is an x and a y value that I can use here in my equation. So if I let x be -3 and y be -4, then I can algebraically find the value of b. So I'm substituting in the value of y, which was -4, and the value of x, which was -3. And now the only unknown is b, so I can solve for b. So let's do that. So this is 2 times -3. 2 times -3 is -6. And again, I want to solve for b, so let's get rid of -6, which means add 6. So -4 plus 6 is 2. I now know the value of b. I know the y-intercept. It happens to also be 2. And that means I can write the equation of this line is y equals 2x plus 2. So again, 2 here, that's the slope we found, and 2, that's the value of b we just found. And that's great. That's the equation of the line, but it's not in standard form. So now we're going to turn it into standard form. And remember, standard form is the one with the rules. It needs to be in this order. So the x part first, then the y part, then the other part. And all of those need to be on the left side of the equal sign, and only the 0 is on the right. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to put everything into the proper order on the left side. So this 2x, which is supposed to be first on the left, to move it to the left, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Then I have to have the y term. Well, the y term was already on the left of the equal sign, so it's still there. I'm just going to write it as positive 1y, because this means positive 1y. We just don't usually write it if there's nothing in front. The positive 2 also needs to move to the left. So to get positive 2 would become -2. And that means I'm left with nothing on the right side. So I've moved everything to the left. It's in the proper order. Are there any fractions to get rid of? Nope, no fractions. Good. Is the leading coefficient positive? No, it's negative. And we don't want it negative. So I'm going to multiply everything by -1. So that becomes positive 2. This becomes -y. This becomes +2. And of course, 0 times -1 is still 0. So that is the equation of this line in standard form. I hope that was helpful. Keep practicing your math.